guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife video for you. Today I've got a first impressions video on this steel will. This is the Intrigue, another offering in their sort of budget lineup, and there will be of course a more expensive version, just like the Cutjack and the Modus, and now we've got this guy. Now this is a pretty appealing knife to me because it's a little longer and slimmer, so I like it when I get a fairly good amount of cutting edge in a fairly small package, and this one definitely delivers on that. Carries really nicely, feels really good in hand, so there's a lot of things to recommend this. Now I do have to say this particular one is not up to par. It's got some side-to-side play, and I've messed with the pivot quite a bit and have yet to get rid of it. I've got a couple of other tricks up my sleeve that I haven't gotten to yet, but I can tell you the problem is the washers, the tolerances are just not there. So these washers are not quite perfectly flat. Therefore, there's blade play. You just can't get rid of it no matter what you do. Now I haven't, eventually I think if I flip them around back and forth enough times, I will get to a point where it's pretty much, the blade play is gone. But I have to say this, for the average knife user, that is not going to work, right? For me, I take apart knives all the time and I do all kinds of things to them, but the average person who's going to buy this off the shelf, they're not going to be able to do that, so they're going to end up stuck with a crappy knife. Now, that is, my only complaint. The other, in terms of design, in terms of ergonomics, blade shape, that kind of stuff, I'm actually really happy with this. Now, I'm sure some of you are going to notice, so I may as well just show you now. It's pretty hard to see, but there's just a teeny bit of rust on here, and that's because it is D2, and I got caught, I was biking, and I got caught in a rainstorm, and I wasn't ready to go home yet, so I had to end up going and working for an hour or so, and doing a few other things, and so the fact that, the knife got rained on in my pocket, and then had to deal with my sweat and stuff for 2 hours, it got some rust on it. So not a big deal. That will come off quickly with a little bit of a Scotch-Brite rub, and there'll be no problem. However, the blade play is a bigger issue, and the problem is the tolerances just weren't good enough on this. And so I do have to say this, if you're a knife maker, even if you're making these budget-friendly knives, and that's great, you need to be taking a knife and giving it a little wiggle, and if the blade wiggles, then you did it wrong. Go and fix it, okay? It's really that simple. Even worse if the blade play is in this direction, because there's very little an end user can do to fix it. Now this is rock solid up and down, but it does have some side-to-side play that, as I was pointing out earlier, just will not go away no matter what I do. I think I'll eventually get it, but in the meantime, it's really, really frustrating. Other people have had these and said that theirs was quite good. So I don't think all of them have blade play, but this one definitely does, and it's more than a little frustrating to me. All right, so now that we've gotten some of those introductory matters out of the way, let's do a quick rundown on the features here. So we've got this drop point flat ground D2 blade. It's not super thick stock. It's nice and thin behind the edge, so it actually slices pretty well. I have cut up a few different things with this already. So yeah, I'm fairly happy with the blade shape. The action on this particular one is terrible. I've got the pivot tightened as much as I can to try to get rid of as much of that blade play. If I loosen this off to where it works the way it should, then it's so sloppy you just can hardly stand it. Every time I touch it, it makes me want to throw it out a window. So I've got it to where I can at least carry it and use it without wanting to smash it with a hammer. Nice red backspacers back here. I do like the construction on this. I love the fact that they've gone to the extra effort to do the nested liners rather than just have them have a layer of FRN. Okay, nice little texture pattern on the handle here. 2-position pocket clip. And they do have a little post for a lanyard back here. Okay, so in terms of what they've done here with design and ergonomics and the way most things work, I think this is a pretty nice, on the large size side of things EDC knife. Let me give you a quick size and weight. So you can see there, got about 8 9/16 inches. Maybe I can move that down a little bit. Yeah, still basically 8 9/16 inches. Blade length here is going to be 3 and almost 3/4. No, a little more than 11/16, not quite 3/4. Handle length, just under 4 7/8. So about 4, and again, you can see it's just over 13/16 there. And I will say the weight on this is very impressive. Let's get this guy out. Look at that, 2.9 ounces. That, I have to say, is very good. I'm quite happy with that aspect of the knife for sure. So what are my overall thoughts on this knife? Well, I think, you know, this is a really nice addition to the steel wheel lineup. It's a little slimmer and longer than the Modus and Cut Jack, which, you know, you could almost characterize those as kind of shorter, fatter knives. So this is really, really nice in terms of, you know, the ergonomics. Actually, one thing I should give you guys that I didn't was grip area. So you can see there's about 3 7/8 inches of grip area, and you know, so your hand fits really nice. The traction is great, the jimping is good. So you know, that aspect, the carry and use of this knife is really, really good. Now you know, it just so happens that I got one with blade play. I don't think you will, but this would be a knife I'd be hesitant to order online, knowing, you know, the experience that I had. That probably means there's a few others out there with side-to-side play as well, and you may or may not be able to get rid of it. So that's my thought. I think this is a great design and had all the potential to be a total win, but had that one issue of side-to-side play that, you know, as I say, when I do the full review, I'll let you guys know whether I was able to get completely rid of it. I'm fairly confident that I will be, but I'm also fairly confident that there would be many buyers out there who are not as comfortable messing with their knives as I am, who wouldn't be able to get rid of it, and so they'd either have to send it back or put up with a knife that has blade play, and I don't think anyone should ever have to put up with that. As you guys know, of all the things that a knife can do wrong, to me that one is by far the worst. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know if you have one of these knives, what your experience has been. We'll talk to you soon.